Hey guys, I'm Davey Wavey, creator of the gay erotic website, Himeros.tv. And today I'm joined by sex and intimacy coach Finn Deerhart and my best friend Matthew Thomas. And today we are talking about the elements of desire and, in particular, love. Just three jaded, hardened, cynical queens talking about love. Let's get started. That's not true. We have lots of love to share. I have a very loving anus.
It is. We are one.
Himeros Live is sponsored by Himeros.tv. Are you sick and tired of the same old porn? Are you ready to see something new, authentic, and hot? Created by Davey Wavey, Himeros.tv is a porn site evolved. Yes, the videos feature some of your favorite models like Blake Mitchell, Calvin Banks, and Gabriel Cross, but the sexual ecstasy that we embody isn't just for 20-year-old porn stars with big dicks and six-pack abs. It is for all of us. At Himeros.tv, you'll see sexy videos featuring guys that are representative of our community and are representative of you. Because at Himeros.tv, we know that all of us are fuckable. Himeros.tv is the world's largest collection of static videos with authentic man-on-man action. Best of all, the videos are co-created with a team of gay sex experts, so you can have the best gay sex of your life. Join the gay porn revolution and save 20% at Himeros.tv/pod. Himeros.tv, it's like porn, but better. How are you guys? We go back and forth. Some weeks it's like porn, but evolved.
Sometimes it backslide.
I don't like creating the hierarchy that it's better than porn, because I think there is a place for porn and porn is really fun. This is just, it's
better.
It is better.
It's quite layered. I mean, it's really layered. It's like,
it's the best.
I mean, it is. It's like box wine versus like a really good wine.
So how are you doing, Finn? You get a little funk going on in your eye there.
You like that?
This is my look.
Yeah, no. I'm actually like seeing clients this way too, and I know it's not about me when I'm with them, but I just feel like I need to disclose. And I'm like really looking at their faces. Like I know that I'm looking through like a battered eye, but
it's just a sty.
Yeah, I know, but it does really affect like the face.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna turn your camera off so we don't have to look at you.
Okay. Evolved.
Yeah, but otherwise,
dude, it's all good. Rocking it. I'm actually assisting a workshop this weekend, like a retreat. My partner is teaching a Esalen massage for gay men retreat, and I'm going to be like cooking for the group.
Wow. So they're going to be having eggs for breakfast and
right, but they're on trainer food. Like, that sucks. No, like they're planning out like a big menu, and I'm doing it up.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fun. Mm-hmm. And somehow in the midst of it, you'll sneak out to share your input for Journey's season 2, which is in the works.
Totally. I'm really stoked about that, actually. I've been going through this workbook called the Jealousy Workbook about managing open relationships. And it's like a really, really cool resource that slows down the process. And it's like step by step, really working with someone on like getting to exactly what they're wanting and how to negotiate for those things in relationship. Is really cool.
There's a scene in Journey's season 2 where the theme is jealousy, the overarching theme, and there's a scene where the couple goes to a therapist, which may be Finn. You may play yourself.
I'm into it.
Yeah,
I'm into it. Yeah. Just make sure you gotta let me know ahead of time so I can wardrobe.
Yeah, well, you'll see it this weekend.
Yeah, awesome.
And we're gonna film that in January, so we got a ways to go.
Yeah.
How are you, Matt?
I'm great. My meeting got canceled today, so I hung out with some friends and just did some work in her apartment all day, and just kind of like relaxed and vegged out and watched some TV. It was just nice to relax. But I'd say the most exciting thing is South Africa. Which I can't wait for.
Yeah. It seems like it's pretty definite that Matt and I are going to be going to South Africa in November.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so fucking crazy. Yeah, we're going to go on a safari.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Just for like fun to connect with each other.
It's like a sponsored tourism project. So
So cool.
I'm gonna make a YouTube video and share it on social media. I will whore the fuck out of it to get a free trip to South Africa and go on a safari.
That's so cool.
You guys are gonna be so sick of seeing tigers. Tigers and no, I guess tigers aren't there. Lions, elephants.
They are, aren't they? Like in some places.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Tigers, really? In South Africa?
I love it. This is not our
Panthers.
We're out of our lane, guys.
There's not Panthers. No, Panthers are in like South America.
Oh, there's something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think they call it like the big five. It's like lions, elephants,
giraffes.
Giraffes, zebras. Yeah. And then something else.
Cheetahs?
So, rhinoceros, maybe? Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Water buffalo?
I rode a water buffalo.
Really?
Yeah. And that's not like a innuendo. It's not a euphemism. I actually rode a water. Yeah. It was fun. In Thailand, no less. Cool. Well, I had a very quiet week, actually. I had a friend visiting last weekend, and I've been doing a lot of like work and then relaxing. I think I invented a philosophy of work, a style of work. And it's, I would say, most similar to, have you ever done like high intensity interval training at the gym? So it's like short bursts of super intense exercise followed by rest. And it's supposed to be, as far as I know, like more effective than like just doing a long, slow workout. And I feel like I take that approach with work, that like I might only actually work 5 or 6 hours a day, but when I do, it is so intense and it is so focused, and like I'm not distracted. And I'm just like, I work for 2 hours and do a bunch of shit, cross 10 things off my to-do list, and then I go have lunch and go for a swim, or even take a nap, which I didn't get today, by the way. And then maybe I'll work for like 3 more hours and then cook dinner and unwind. And that's like my day. And it works for me.
Yeah. Same here. I work really well that way. And there are some days that I will literally work from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. And then there will be like another day or two that I'm just like, I can't work today. I just can't get into the space for it, unless I have clients or something. But I do the sprinting whenever I have the juice for it. And then when I don't, I just let myself off the hook and do more creative things.
And Matt, you just sprint for 16 hours all day.
Pretty much.
Really?
Oh yeah, all day. I mean, granted, I didn't have my meetings today, but I worked all day. I just got to sit back, relax, and watch TV while I did it. But I worked up until our podcast. And then when we're done, I'm still going to work for another hour just to plan for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, she still hasn't called me back. I've called you like 3 times in the last 2 days.
I called you. Did I call you this morning or yesterday morning?
Yeah.
Look
at her. Look at her.
Come on now. I'll call you.
By the way, I still can't say look at her. However, I do want to mention I talked to Johnny McGovern, who's the host of the show. He listens to the podcast, and he was like, Dave, he's like, I want you to understand, like, that wasn't last week we were talking about this, and when they show different pictures of people, the idea is to like share a story or a conversation about them. Finn was one of the pictures, and I very much gave the impression that like I was supposed to talk shit about you, and it really is just about sharing a funny story, I don't know if that was a little triggering for you, Finn.
Oh, well, I mean, I just got this worry that like, oh my God, I mean, whatever, people are talking shit out there, but he actually sent me a message too, and I just appreciated that and felt really good. I like to tie up those loose ends.
Yeah, very good. In other news, I've been on a big like Holocaust kick lately.
Exciting.
Movie. Okay.
Well, first of all, I wanted to catch up on 90s movies that maybe I missed because at the time I was too young to see. Okay. Because I was born in 1983. And Schindler's List is at least on the websites I was looking at, it was like one of the most highest rated 90s movies that I haven't seen. So it took me 2 days to get through it, but I did. It was on Netflix, and I mean, it's obvious, it's you don't need to hear me say that it's really worth watching, but it was. And then, of course, Netflix is like, oh, you enjoy Nazi films? Watch Inglorious Bastards, I think it's called, with Brad Pitt. Have you guys seen that?
No. I know what it is, but no.
Okay, so I watched that. I think that's a 2000s movie, which I also hadn't seen. And then I somehow got into The Man in High Tower, which is an Amazon series about like a world in which the Nazis won World War II, and like what would life be like if they won. And it all got me thinking. I'm going somewhere with this. These films, they always, and obviously very rightfully so, paint the Germans and the Nazis as the bad guys. And I think most people, obviously, except perhaps the, orange man in the White House, would conclude, yes, the Nazis were the bad guys. But I was trying to think of a situation, and they lost. I was trying to think of a situation where like the bad guys won, right, in history. Because if the bad guys win, then they get the opportunity to write the history, and they're probably not going to say, oh, the bad guys won. And so, of course, Monday was Columbus Day, and like, what a perfect fucking example of like the horrible things the Europeans did to the Native Americans. And I mean, like vile things. And these are, well, my ancestors, Finn's ancestors. Matt, I guess you're off the hook. But, they committed genocide, and anyone from the outside world looking in would be like, yeah, the Europeans are the bad guys and the bad guys won. And of course, we're still here today. And what I learned in school was not that the Europeans stole the land. It was, happy Columbus Day, enjoy your day off. What a great holiday.
Right.
So
all these pictures of like the Native Americans like helping the Pilgrims grow squash and shit.
Yeah.
On the propaganda.
Yeah. It's just a very whitewashed version of history. And I don't know. I guess my point is that it all felt very relevant. And I think it's worth looking at the instances in all of our lives where we might be the bad guys. I don't know if that's my point. I don't know what my point is.
That's a really good point, though. Like, it's not like, are you being a bad guy? It's like, in which ways are you being a bad guy?
Yeah. And it totally. So, and it's all like, we're all complicated, and we can enjoy people that also make really bad decisions. So,
yeah. Speaking of bad guys, have y'all seen The Joker?
Yes.
No. Oh my God. Me too.
Yeah.
I thought it was. It was really amazing. Yeah.
It's tough though. Did you find it tedious to get through it?
No, not tedious, but I found I have a really hard time with violence. So whenever I see stuff like that, it's just really can stick with me for a few days.
There really isn't that much violence in it though.
I mean, but the parts that were like significantly so for me. I mean, for me.
Yeah, you don't.
But I really got but I did really get him. I think I think like, well, of course. Actually, the next day, my partner and I were at Nordstrom Rack, and a security guard actually made this like really offhanded comment to me and Sam about like, what people are. Well, he's like, people are dogs, and he just seemed like really off, this guy. And I thought, I was a little like, oh, he's a security guard, and just the way that his energy was. But I remember the movie, I thought, oh my God, I don't know what he's going through. Like, I don't know what this person, like, what is his life,
Yeah. Well, the Joker, he's obviously a bad guy, but then when they explain like the complexities of why he is the way he is, you find yourself like relating to him. And there's times in the movie where you're kind of like rooting for him.
I was rooting for him a couple times. Yeah.
And like, no one is 100% good or 100% bad. Like, people just make bad decisions and do bad things or good things. And it is complicated. I just found it very tedious though to get through it, because you're in the mind of someone who's like becoming increasingly deranged and hallucinating. And like, I couldn't see that movie a second time.
Me either.
It's disturbing.
Yeah.
So in other news, I did put in an offer for a house in Palm Springs today. I sent you guys
so cool.
the link. It's an actual house with a yard, and I'm not sure if the offer is going to get accepted because it was pretty low, but I live in a 1-bedroom condo in Palm Springs, and my current office is my kitchen table. So as much as I love small spaces, my dream is really to have like a separate office room. Like Finn, like what you have. You have it's 10 minutes from your house, your little office.
Yeah, 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
Max office.
Yeah.
That is a really awesome house, and if you get it, I will totally come down for housewarming.
Yeah, I'm really, my fingers are crossed. It's mid-century modern, and it's 3 bedrooms, so I'll make one of the bedrooms an office. The other one will be the guest room. So y'all are invited to come visit. I hope you do. And yeah, it'll be a fun project to renovate it. It's barely livable. It needs like a lot of work, but it'll be fun. All right. Any other updates before we get into housekeeping?
No.
I don't think so.
Tickets are now available for our first virtual retreat, which is Saturday, January 25th. It's an all-day event. You guys can basically attend from the comfort of your home. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with a partner or a fuck buddy, whatever, make it a group thing. Everyone can save $10 if you use the discount code POD during checkout. It's a little tricky. We got a lot of emails last week. It's tricky to find out, to find the place where you enter that discount code. When you click on tickets, you'll see at the top left-hand corner this blue tax center promo code. It's very easy to miss. So click that, enter POD, P-O-D, and you'll get $10 off your ticket. Finn will be facilitating the retreat along with some of your favorite porn stars. Finn, quickly, what can people expect?
They are going to, well, it's hard to explain in advance, but I would just say breaking it down to working through inhibitions. So places where you feel like your sexual expression is a little stuck, like learn how to use more of your whole body to do that, and increase your capacity to express sexually, really.
Yeah. Be there, be queer, buy your ticket. Also, tickets are finally on sale for our first in-person retreat, which will be next October. So you're on a 1-year notice to get your shit together and join us in upstate New York. There's only 50 tickets, so I think it's going to sell out pretty quickly. But you can check out the details for all these events. You can go to himeros.tv/events. And there's going to be 3 workshops per day. There's going to be movie screening each night. It's at Easton Mountain with delicious food, great company. And last but not least, if you guys are subscribed to Himeros Live, which I hope you are, you will have seen that our bonus episode was released this week, which is Matt and I on a tantric retreat at Easton Mountain. I can't say enough how much I love this. Matt, did you enjoy listening to it as much as I did?
I did. There were so many things that I had kind of forgotten. Just hearing it again, like, oh, I didn't even remember I said that. I can't believe I said that. And oh, that happened. And then also just seeing how it was put together. Dominique did a really fantastic job.
Yeah. Kudos to her. She listened to a zillion hours of audio. And it really is a journey. Finn, have you listened to it yet?
I haven't got to yet. No. I will this weekend.
There's my favorite moment in it is when Matt's describing the golden shower scene that we saw. Oh my God. Every time. It just gets me. You go from like crying, from laughing so hard to crying because something's so emotional. I mean, the whole thing's it's a fucking journey. It is a journey.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited.
So, Finn, you sent an article a few weeks ago that we hadn't got a chance to discuss about BDSM. So it's a Vice article, and the headline is "Your Brain on BDSM: Why Getting Spanked and Tied Up Makes You Feel High." Because it's very long. It's a very long read. Would you mind telling me a little bit?
I'll tell you what really came out to me in this. For one thing, it's like trying to describe on the physiobiological level what's happening in the mind of someone who is engaging in BDSM. But traditionally, in the past, a lot of sex research has been really focused on the external, like the physical, what's happening to somebody physically versus the relational component. And we talk about that a lot on here. And all the newer, I think, more profound work in sex research is like highlighting the existential part of it and the relational context around that, even for men who have been typically assumed to have like no, emotions in sex or whatever. And so the thing that I thought was interesting that they're really curious about investigating more is in the like in a Dom sub arrangement in a BDSM scene, the cortisol levels are rising significantly in the bottom. Naturally, that kind of makes sense to me because he's like being like hit or slapped or spanked or something that's like playing on his like limbic system and his fear response. But it's going down in the Dom. They like track that. So the Dom's getting more and more calm as he's administering pain. And then, instead of them reporting, the bottoms, instead of reporting that they're feeling stress, because cortisol is a stress hormone, they're actually experiencing like a head state that like is floaty or feels really like calm. It's like a sub headspace. And after doing a lot of research on why, it's because they feel really seen and connected there. So it's something about, even though they're experiencing high levels of cortisol and stress, they're reporting that they're feeling much more calm, much more like grounded than they would if it's like, just outside of the sexual, like if somebody just like hit you, for instance, like on the street, versus like in this scene where you're feeling, so it's like highlighting the connective activity of what's happening with you and another person. And like, even though you're experiencing pain, you're actually experiencing a narrative and a lot that's emotional and I would call even spiritually based in your own self. So it creates a deep connection with somebody.
The pain that you're experiencing is in a context, like it's that's different from being slapped in the street. That headspace though. Matt, have you ever really been in like a sub headspace before?
No.
Is
I
it
wanted to some degree, but no, nothing really intense.
What do you think has stopped you from doing it? Since you have the desire to do it, what do you think stops you?
I think it's finding someone that I feel can dominate me. Like a lot of times I end up with people who are a little bit more submissive. But even in some of those instances where I give them permission to try to dominate the way that I'd like to be dominated. I think in my mind, I'm kind of just like, you can't do this. Like, no, forget it. It's fine.
Do you think it's because they're younger, they're smaller, they're like?
No, I mean, I can think of two people right off the top of my head that are, they're both younger than me, but one 6'2", the other was pretty muscular. I don't know. I think it's really more personality and energy than anything.
Yeah. It's interesting because we're filming a scene. We were just talking about this before we started recording in France called Sissy and the Mask. And I was showing Finn the outfits that I bought, but we're filming this in a fucking castle that looks like King Louis the fucking like 13th or something, or built this, and with like French like castle type furniture and like drapes, and it's very ornate. So the sissy in this scene is basically going to be like a dandy or like a very like done up like boy of the court, I guess he kind of looks like. Very like lots of satin and all white outfit, like very, very cute. And he's going to be with a mask who's going to be a guy a lot bigger than him. His name's Amadeus that we're filming with. And he's physically muscular. He's a big guy. He has a big dick. And he's going to have this like almost like a Game of Thrones, like fur cape on, like a black cape. And you're going to look at that and you're like, okay, I know how this scene's going down. But the sissy is going to top the mask. So it's going to be kind of a subversion of people's expectations.
How do you guys feel, or how have you felt when you see porn like that? Are you like, oh my God, no, like this isn't what I wanted to see. This shouldn't be happening? Or
yeah, I hate
it. Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, definitely in the past, like I had really limited story. Like I just wasn't interested in a variety of things in porn when I was younger, especially.
But now
I'm like really intrigued with anything that defies my assumptions, to be honest. I mean, I don't really watch porn that much, but I if it looks like what I looked at when I was younger, I'm usually not interested in it.
Yeah, agreed.
So, but I've gone on a little bit I've had an arc with this, because for me, traditionally, yeah, I want the student to get fucked by the teacher, but I've actually found delight in that subversion more recently. Like, even with some of the guys that I hook up with, like if he's younger than me and smaller than me, like just the expectations that society puts on you, very heteronormative, whatever, like the younger, smaller twink should bottom for me. And I've actually found some younger guys who you would expect to be bottoms that are tops. And it's fun to actually like have them fuck daddy, like they're and I think it kind of plays into the YouTube video that we're going to release tomorrow, which is Violation of Prohibition. That there is something, it defies what your expectation is, but there's something juicy in that defiance. Like, it makes it hotter.
I think one thing I've realized recently is that I want to have like more verse sex, like, and not just, and I don't mean that, I mean that in terms of in every experience, both of us are topping, both of us are bottoming. Do you guys have like a lot of verse sex in your actual sexual experience, or are you strictly a top or a bottom in your sexual encounter?
No, to answer that, I would say like when I was younger, for sure, there was more of a like, this is what we agreed upon, this is what we're going to do, and then we would do the thing. I like it to be way more fluid now and open to all kinds of things. And I might start out bottoming and then end up being the one that tops most of the time, or vice versa, or just all kinds of things, like maybe just kneeling in front of each other and jacking off and like finger fucking, just really whatever comes up emotionally. And I might start out in some headspace and end up on the complete other side of the room and part of me,
So you have that, you have that fluidity in like real time. Like it's, yeah.
I need that, because I feel if I don't, like sometimes, I just want to suck your dick and just do that. But like it's pretty often that I really just want like the space and the time to be fluid and to just kind of let it emerge, because then it keeps building too, because your feelings keep morphing and changing.
I feel like that doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I can't think of a single guy that I've hooked up with where we've been like I'm very versatile. I can enjoy topping, I can enjoy bottoming, but in all of my relationships and all of my hookups, it's kind of like we've each found a lane and then stayed in it.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, for Matt, you obviously do a lot more topping, but for me, it's probably like 50% of the guys I bottom for, and then 50% of the guys I top, and there's not like I can't think of a
mix it.
Yeah, and I want to, but
well, the thing, like this really is, I mean, to me, it has a lot to do with the central, thesis to my work on, and I talk about this a lot. It's, like the feelings motivating the action of the body versus just like the image of the body or the image of what we're after. Because it's like, you might start out with thinking like, oh, this guy looks really hot, I'd like him to fuck me. But you spend a few minutes with him and you're feeling like a different energy, and you're like, actually, I want to push his face down and like be rough with him, or because the energy defies like what you might have imagined initially. Have you had that experience where you feel like I signed up for something that you're not doing the image in my mind? So but your feelings can like guide you.
There's a practical issue though of like, okay, well, like he didn't get ready, he didn't prep for getting fucked.
Right.
So you kind of have to, in my very like hygienic world, you kind of have to go into it knowing like, okay, so for example, Matt, remember at Easton Mountain in this last retreat, we filmed a wrestling video. And I was watching the edit of it yesterday and giving notes for changes and tweaks for it. And what I realized is that like there's a lot of spontaneous like ass eating that happens, or like fingering, and the guys just kind of like went for it. And every time it happened, like on camera, especially when it was like up close, I'm like, like, because we had a conversation with guys about like what they're comfortable with overall and how they enjoy engaging sexually, but we didn't say like, okay, who who douched for this shoot?
Yeah.
Like who, and people just fucking went for it. They didn't even care. And I was just, oh, girl, it triggered me.
I mean, but you can, you know what? They're like, I feel like there are more ways for, if I want to be really dominant, there are more ways to do that than just like fucking, you know, let's say,
Yeah,
you know, he's not ready for that. Then maybe I just like straddle his face and jack off. And like, you know, there's just ways to,
that's true.
and we're going to do this at the virtual retreat, actually.
Oh, good. Yes. That's why I had to be 18 plus to buy a ticket. I forgot to mention that. Speaking of switching things up sexually, and about our brains and how all that, the complexities. A few months ago, remember when I was sharing that I was for a while not jerking off to porn. Took me a while to get there, but yes, it was an experiment, and I think I did it maybe for like 2 months, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, and I'm basically, my goal was to really like recondition myself to make it easier for me to come when I'm not watching porn. It's very easy for me to watch porn and jerk off. But if I'm like actually with someone in the bedroom, my mind is so used to seeing a scene play out that it's more challenging for me. I also have this other issue, which is when I jerk off, I basically do this like death grip on my dick. Like I just like squeeze the fuck out of it to come. And that, doing that over and over again has had the effect of making it really difficult for me to come, say if I'm fucking someone as a top, which can be because it makes you have a lot of endurance. You can last a long time, but also like it's nice to come in someone when you want to. And I think I've only come from a blowjob probably twice in my life. So because I really do enjoy watching porn while I jerk off, I decided that if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to jerk off watching porn, then I'm going to do it in a different way. So instead of doing my typical right hand stroke, I'll use a fleshlight, or I'll use my like left hand, or I'll do it while I'm standing up, like anything to kind of introduce variety into it. And coming in my left hand, by the way, is like an act of God. It's like, it is almost impossible for me. It is torture.
Yeah.
And it's like so fucking difficult, and I'll be doing it, and I start to like bargain with myself. I'm like, all right, no, just do like 1 minute on your right hand. Like you'll feel so good. Just do it for a minute. And I'm like, no, you got to stick with this. You got to stick with this. And I think I mentioned this before, that when I use my left hand, like as I get close to coming, my right hand starts to shake because it's so used to like being in movement while I'm coming. I mean, it's really, really bad. So this is kind of my little ongoing experiment that I played with myself. It's like, all right, if you're going to watch porn, you're going to do it, but you're not going to jerk off with your right hand. And I kind of go into that process of retraining my dick and my brain.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I like it. I think there's something that we
are you feeling progress?
Yeah. Progress. Like, what do you mean?
Like you're feeling like you're retraining yourself.
Are you having success?
I think it's too early to I think it's going to take like months for me to like have a verdict on that.
Yeah.
Cause I'm only doing it at the moment. This is like, do y'all really even care? I'm like probably jerking off like 3 times a week. So it's not like if I was doing it 10 times a week, or, you know, like twice a day, it might be faster results, but anyway, I'm channeling my sexual energy into productivity. You know what we didn't talk about during Hot Topics?
What?
Fucking Elizabeth Warren's answer at the Equality Town Hall which I think was last Thursday night. It was the night that we recorded our podcast, so it was just before we did it. And she was, Matt, what was the question she was answering?
Something about like what, I don't remember. So about what this guy thinks about was it about marriage? Yeah, you're right. That was it. Repeat that, Finn.
Something about like what about, you know, when someone says that marriage is between one man and one woman, and she says, well, then marry one woman.
She goes, then marry one woman. I'm cool with that. and then she paused and she goes, if you can find one.
Right.
died. I was like, just on her comedic timing alone, like I'm ready to vote for her. And the next day, which was last Friday, literally every gay person who ever like has logged onto the internet or Facebook or Instagram saw that clip in their feed. Like it was all over the fucking place. And I was thinking like it probably got her a lot of goodwill, like a lot of inroads into our community. And I mean, we've talked about this before. When Mayor Pete first started running, I was so excited that there was, well, I still am excited there's an openly gay man who's a viable, like intelligent candidate. And I think it gives hope to my closeted 14-year-old self, right? So I was very much on board with that. And well, you all know that like in terms of my political leanings, I would say that I'm not exactly moderate. And I think he's really kind of moved into that position for himself, which is fine. And probably maybe it's smart and strategic, but it also makes me just personally less excited about him and has kind of created a little bit of an opening for myself. And I feel like Elizabeth Warren successfully like shaded her way into that opening for me. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I love her.
Yeah, she's fun. I mean, I all of them are enjoyable, but I'm so excited for Donald Trump to not be in office.
Me too.
I'm so excited for the news to be boring. I think at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I haven't checked CNN in 8 hours. Let me see what shit has blown up. You know, like I want to not think that.
I would just like the news to be more representative of what's truly going on in the world. It just seems like such a shit show. I try to just catch highlights and on blogs and stuff. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Matt?
I don't think it's ever going to be the same. I don't think it'll ever go back to what it was. I feel like
it's like when you double fist a hole, it just never going back.
Right. No, I just think that there's a level of pettiness on both sides that no matter who's in office next, I mean, I think people are going to be overly scrutinized, and I don't know. I don't see it getting any better.
Donald Trump double fisted America, and our hole is forever sloppy.
But honestly, wouldn't like I'm thinking like too, like he's done so much that's really been shitty that like anyone that really does make some good tracks to reverse what's been going on.
But I don't think it's, even if we were to elect someone different and we got rid of Donald Trump, the people who voted for Donald Trump and stand up for what Donald Trump believes in are still here.
Right.
And there's, to that end, there's so much more work that needs to be done, because I think that people have a level of fearlessness in speaking their mind and speaking their racism and speaking their hate that we've never seen before. And I don't care if we put the opposite of Donald Trump in office. It doesn't fix that.
Right.
He empowered hate by like through his platform and through his person. He empowered a message of hate. And the only thing is that I can say, which maybe is like the silver lining, is maybe it feels like all that hate was there and it was just brewing like under the surface. And maybe in some way he pulled the scab off. So now we can like really like address it and maybe heal.
Well, I mean, the hate has been there. I just feel like the recognition of that hate has been something that minorities continue to live with. And if you're not, I think for a lot of people, it's like, oh, well, I didn't realize it was like this. I didn't realize it was actually as bad as it is. But I don't know. I feel like to a large degree, I live in it, and I've always had to like work through it. And I don't know. I just, I don't see things getting any better anytime soon, because we're still not listening to each other. We're still not putting each other in each other's shoes. And that's what needs to happen to create change. Even if you put someone in office who wants to get people who voted for him to better understand and join the table, I I don't see things getting better in the near future, even if he gets impeached. I don't see it happening.
That's fucking depressing. You know what we all need? We need some love. We need some love in our lives.
On to the video.
That's my transition.
Oh, it's a good one. I mean, just to recap that though, I would say
You're gonna ruin my transition. Now I'm gonna make another one.
In step, I think.
God, you're
it's
so selfish.
Be the love. Like shit sucks. So everyone get off their ass and do stuff.
Yeah. And expressing your love with another man is, I think, a political and necessary thing that this world needs.
Absolutely.
This week's video is titled Elements of Desire, love. Not love, but just yeah, anyway. This video is, I would say, a bit different from some of our videos. It's a combination of like a lecture and not a lecture. What's sex here? What the sex? Yeah, sign up at himeros.tv/pod. Watch this lecture. No, it's not a lecture. It's like you're giving the guys erotic tools.
Yeah.
Insight.
Yes. Coaching.
And then coaching. And then Calvin, Banks, and Ray Dexter fuck. I guess, Finn, can you explain what the elements of desire, like what that is?
Yeah, it's a framework it's actually adapted in my mind. Like it's adapted for gay guys from like some classical tantra ideas, really. And it's basically breaking out all the different underlying motivators for sex. So when guys go to have sex, they're using sex as a keyhole for like a whole spectrum of feelings. And so the elements is like a way that I just broke it out to different specific things that we're wanting when we have sex. The first one being love, and then how to actually, what does that mean for most people? Love is a big word, but it kind of comes down to these experiences of being connected and unified, feeling like you're dissolving into each other. And to actually experience that, you have to practice specific skills. So each of the elements have their own skill set that will help you increase your capacity for that kind of sex.
So there's 4 elements. They're love, luxury, license, and lust. And like Finn said, this is the first element. So there's gonna be 3 more videos featuring different models also fucking. And actually all the models or all the videos show fucking because we thought it was important to give like 4 different flavors of fucking rather than have them be doing different things in the video. So they're all fucking. And the idea is you can decide what flavor you want, like, and consciously step into it. Or if that is what you want, why. It's kind of digging a little bit deeper into it. You picked 4 elements. I guess my question would be, are there also more? Like, couldn't there be an element of desire that is like hate or repulsion? Like, I just hate him so much, but I want to fuck, I wanted to fuck his brains out, or,
well, yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I organized it into 4, but they're more nuanced. And that what you just said is actually kind of it's in like the 3rd and the 4th element, because they're like shadowy feelings: rage, drive, the desire to compete.
Okay. What about really disconnected sex, where the person's just kind of like going through the motions? There's love, luxury, license, lust, and lousy lovers. That would be the
I'd say like you don't have to work really hard to be that. That's like I think we have to work more for being connected versus like being disconnected. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, fine. Everything fits in the 4 elements.
Here's how to disconnect.
I loved this video.
Did you love it?
I did. Like, just putting myself in the shoes of the 2 people going through the experience and talking about always wanting to have connected sex and just feeling like coming out of a relationship and like not knowing what to do or what I really want. Like, I really appreciated this. And I just thought it was just a really simple way to have a quick little exercise to build a little connection. And it can even be applied to people that are in a relationship and are maybe going through something a little bit rocky. I really appreciated it. Just beyond just the words, just visually seeing how you set that up. I really appreciated it. I'm
really glad that you said that, because I I was really nervous with the series just because it's so different from what we've presented in the past. Not because I didn't think it was valuable. I wasn't sure how people were going to react to it. Like, you can imagine if this video was uploaded to like men.com or Corbin Fisher or something, like what would the response be? And obviously our audience is different than that, but all the responses, literally all the responses on Finn, I don't know if you've seen them on Himeros.
No.
There hasn't been a single negative comment. Like, everyone's been like, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome."
Mhm.
And I think that even the other videos are really strong. The ones that we're going to be releasing in the coming months. The guys do a really great job of embodying it. This is something Finn wrote. He wrote, in the elements of desire, each element emphasizes a specific set of skills that build upon each other and that can be experienced in layers. These skills are useful in creating an interpretive framework around what sex means to us personally. Think of practicing these elements like playing scales so that you can play chords, so that you can compose beautiful music that emanates from the core of your being. So what are some of the skills, I guess, for love? Like, how do you fuck someone with love?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what I was saying a second ago. Like, it's like, well, what is love? You know, like, it's a broad concept, but mostly when people are saying they want love, they're describing the experience they're wanting is to be seen in this like dissolving kind of way and like being attuned to. So to do that, you have to really be able, you know, like what you're describing, there's like someone's in one person's in his head and the other one's in his head. Well, they're not really attuning to each other. So it's practicing the skill of like learning how to like sync up in the same rhythm with somebody. And that's a good basis and a foundation, even if you're going to have crazy raw sex and throwing against the wall, I mean, to be attuned so that you can actually read each other. So it's like reading each other's energy, reading each other's breath, like being able to not have to be in your mind, but let your body just kind of like massage. Like if you give massage or receive massage, you kind of become one with the practitioner.
There's in the video, there's a lot of like eye contact that's happening, like really like gazing into each other's eyes, even affirmations, like they speak to each other and affirm the things that they really enjoy about each other's bodies or personalities, or like there was a sweetness to it that was really apparent.
Yeah, it softens, like when we hear those sorts of things, it softens our defenses and our resistance to being vulnerable. So it allows that to come forward more, and you're creating a context. That's the skill, is like, let me create a context with this guy so that we can unfold and open up and actually, you know, sync up with each other.
Yeah. I love that story.
I really liked it.
Thank you.
If you guys,
people are responding well.
Yeah. Well, and for people that maybe aren't members, the preview for it, often our previews are just like 30 seconds of clips like set to music. This preview, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the preview has some of the voiceovers and some of the coaching in it. So even if you're not a member, it's a minute long. It's just a small section of the video, but it's totally worth checking out. If you do it, go to himeros.tv/pod, because if you do join, you'll get 20% off. But at the very least, at least listen to the video. All right, so we have time to answer some questions. If you guys have any questions at home or comments, you can send them to Davey at daveywavey.tv. All right, question number 1. Hi, Davey. I am a fan of your YouTube channel and your body because your chest is goals. But something that you have talked about before is open relationships. My current boyfriend and I have been together for 5 months, and I would consider that to still be fairly new, since we're still getting to know each other and to understand each other. But the last few weeks, I have been thinking about asking him if he'd ever be open to a threesome. This is like literally the plot of Journeys season 2, by the way. All right. So I'm bisexual as well, and I have thought about asking if he'd ever want to try having an experience with another woman. I wouldn't want to make him feel uncomfortable during sex. My question to you is, how do you and your partner balance having an open relationship? And if you weren't and had a partner who you felt might not be privy to inviting a third into your sexual experience, what would be the best way to bring up the conversation without it feeling forced? So also I'm confused. I don't know if this is I'm assuming it's a guy that's writing in. I wasn't sure if it was a woman who was writing in about bringing another woman into as a threesome with the male partner. But I guess since they said my chest is goals, let's just make the assumption that this is a gay male identified relationship. So Finn, well, if someone was coming to your practice and I guess to tackle the last question first, how do you bring up that conversation?
I tell people that it's really fun to bring up those conversations when well, two ways. Either when everything is really neutral and you're in a really connected space, and it's not when you're having sex, like if that feels safer and you just like, hey, there's something I wanted to bring up, and talking about it when you're in a playful space with each other. Or if you have a practice of like talking dirty with each other and you're turned on and utilizing your fantasies to really help turn each other on, that can be a really good time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because you might be more willing to like move towards something when you're turned on than if you're just, like, let's say you're feeling stressed out about work, you're not going to want to hear something that potentially could bring more stress on you.
I don't know if this is advisable, but what I've found is that people are less triggered by you talking about how fun it would be to see them have sex than talking about how much you want to have sex with someone else.
Yeah.
Is that just a like sociopathic tendency? Like, is that like, I mean,
I
you
think
know what I
it's
mean?
safer. Well, I just think it's safer for people emotionally. It's like,
'Cause
oh, you want to watch me do that? Okay. Versus like,
yeah,
you? Oh, I might lose my precious. So you just get really freaked out.
yeah. I feel like I might be a sociopath, but yeah, that's often how I bring it up, and it's from a genuine place. If I say to a guy like, I think it'd be so fucking hot to like watch someone plowing you, and the earlier question was like, how do you balance having an open relationship? And I think it's about like the framework or the perspective that you come from, like how you're viewing the openness. Like when I had a boyfriend, when Chad and I were together, it wasn't when we were with another guy, the framework we were using wasn't like, oh, I'm not enough for him and he needs to get this from someone else. It was, God, it's just so fucking hot to like watch my partner experience pleasure and like to have, the three of us connect in this way. And like, this is going to bring more sexual energy into our relationship. And like, that's the perspective. It's not coming from a place of like, what if I'm the odd one out? Oh, he might leave me for this person. I think it's the framework that you're in when it happens.
I agree. But I also want to say that if those are the fears that somebody has, like, oh, well, what if he leaves me? Or those are like real fears and they need to be like, heard by your partner. And so it's not, if you're having those kinds of feelings, it's not like, oh, I just need to get over this and move on. It's like, oh, I really could slow down and talk to my partner about all this and open up. I think balancing, when I hear the word balance, I think having secure attachment with that person and at the same time being able to branch out. And I think of like a tree as an analogy, like having roots in a trunk and then branches is, if you've got a stable trunk, then you're able to do more in your partnership if that's what you want to do.
All right. Any more thoughts, Matt? Any insight?
No, I mean, me, I see what you guys are saying about a little dirty talk, talking about it in theory, and then having the conversation. I just think that if I put myself in the situation and I had my boyfriend approaching me that way, I think in the back of my mind, at some point I may think, wait, did he just kind of like manipulate the situation to kind of get what he wants instead of him just being honest with me and being direct about what he wants?
Yeah.
And I know like that is not what's always the easiest thing to do. But I know that for me, I would rather, even if I'm having a bad day, I would rather my partner feel like he could say, hey, listen, like I want to have a real an honest conversation. Let's sit down, let's talk. I really want to tell you something. I know that for me that would work. That doesn't work for everybody. But I would want my partner to just be honest with me. What do you want?
Yeah.
I would say that for sure.
At this point in my life, what has really worked for me is going into relationships. Like, I know that I want an open relationship, so I put it on my Tinder bio. Like, it's not going to get to a point. Obviously, things change, and I think this person's in a relationship and then found themselves wanting to try openness. But if you know from the get-go it's something you want, it's something you can really lead with and find someone that's on the same page. So it's not as uncomfortable to bring up.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like open or closed. It's not like a zero-sum game. It's like y'all could like play with this idea and then see how that works, and then see what else. It's a negotiable. Like, it's all on a continuum, and things are so nebulous these days in relationship structure. You can really advocate for what it is you want specifically rather than a title.
100%. Like, there's no reason why like openness needs to just mean, well, we sleep. We only have threesomes, or we only sleep with someone separately. You could define it however you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or move to Palm Springs. I don't know a single couple out here that's in a completely like monogamous relationship. Yeah. All right, so let's hold off on the other questions until till next week. Oh, we have a good one about foreskin though. Well, I'll just let that dangle right there. Okay.
Hang.
Yeah. Next week we're going to be talking about a video called I think it's called the underwear party.
Yeah.
So this is the first video coming out that we filmed at Easton Mountain, and we're going to have a special guest next week, Brad Amberhart.
Oh, yay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is Natasha coming out too?
I don't know if Natasha's coming. That's his drag alter ego. She's probably in a bag somewhere under his bed, but Brad will be here, and Brad was one of the tantric instructors that facilitated the retreat. So in the meantime, look, you have a 1 week notice. Listen to the fucking bonus episode of Matt and I at the tantric retreat, because it's gonna put next week's podcast in a lot of context.
Mm-hmm.
Finn, you're on notice. Listen to it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Finn, where can people find more of you?
FinnDeerhart.com, FinnDeerhart.com.
And Matt, where can people find you?
Right here next Thursday.
Remember to visit himeros.tv/pod to save 20% off your himeros.tv membership. And again, the event website is himeros.tv/events. Both the virtual retreat and the in-person retreat are listed on the site. You guys can get tickets for all of those now. Thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, more to come.